What's going on, guys? I just got home from work. Came home to this package on my door. This is going to be part of the project that I'm going to be working on this week. My little brother got a gaming laptop. I think I mentioned this in the first video, maybe not. But it doesn't boot at all. There's just nothing. No power to it. So I did some troubleshooting in my free time over the weekend. And I kind of narrowed it down to the power button. It was shorting out. Uh, I did that with a multimeter, and I just put the probes on both ends, and it sent a full circuit through, which you don't want to have when the button's not being clicked, right? So what we got here is something I've been seeing on the TikTok shop a lot. Didn't buy from TikTok shop because I didn't want to pay for shipping, and I also didn't want to wait forever for it. It's like my biggest issue with TikTok shop, I feel like. All right. What we got here is the Fanttik wireless soldering iron, right? I've been seeing this a lot. It looks pretty cool. It's pretty different compared to like the traditional soldering iron, right? You don't have to have the big base or anything like that, so that's pretty cool. I don't know how high my expectations are for this, just because it is a TikTok shop product, basically. That's kind of where Fanttik blew up, I feel like. But like that, we got the Fanttik T1 Max quick eating, build your ideas, 7. So we open it up. Of course, we got the user manual. No one cares about that. We got the actual gadget, right? I do like their material. It's not bad. Like their packaging material. It feels higher quality than I feel like it is. This. And then we, of course, have the stand. And then I guess this is probably like extra pieces, tips, and sponges and stuff. So let's go ahead and got a nice little bag. We're gonna unbox the stand first. So we have the holder for the gun. Let's go ahead and open this. So yeah, we got the base right here. We have the actual holder. It says tips are inside, so we get a nice little press right here. Nice. This is what we get for the tips. So I mean, it looks like you can do a handful of stuff. We have like a little scalpel tip and some really fine little tips. It's really cool that it just presses in and pops out. That's pretty nice. Put that on. Oh, that's magnetic too. That's pretty cool. It just spins around. We have the whole pack of little sponges. It comes with a handful of them. Oh yeah. I guess if you want to mix up the color, you want to keep it all gray and monotone, they give you 5 yellow, 5 gray, it looks like. We got this little bag. I'm guessing this is probably the charger for it. Oh, no, just kidding. Oh, I just dropped some stuff. So yeah, we do have a charger in here. Not 100% sure. A bunch of these tiny little clear tubes, along with a pair of tweezers. Tweezers kind of suck. These are not quite the tweezers you would want to be using when you're soldering. They're kind of thick. Of course, you got your typical USB-C. I have too freaking many. They go on the ends of this guy. It sucks you can use it to suck it up, I guess. Does it open then? Probably gonna break it or something. Now for the main course, the main event. We have the Fanttik, the beautiful wireless soldering iron. You got a nice little USB-C in the back like that. It's supposed to be pretty fast. I don't really have anything to solder on as of right now, but of course you'll see this all in the same video. So I'm waiting for the button to come in for it because I do need to replace it. So I ordered that. Unscrew it like you would with a kind of a drill, I guess. It just slides in, holds it in place. You got a nice little knob on the back to twist and adjust. So it goes down to 390 degrees Fahrenheit up to 840, so it's pretty freaking hot. I'm not going to turn it on and touch it, of course. But we'll see if it comes with a charge. That's how you know they're quality. It has a nice little light on it, so when you're actually soldering, green, so I'm not totally sure. I do need to read the actual instructions a little bit because there's like certain things on here, certain features. Like it has a gravity sensor and stuff like that. So it knows when to actually be heating up and stuff like that. Yeah, there we go. So it can sense when it's not in. So if you're being stupid like me, yeah, there we go. It's already smoking apparently. Not 100% sure if it's working or not. I guess when it turns green, this is why it's important to read the instructions, right? It's green right now. So I'm about to sponge a little bit. So I guess it is working. Of course, you guys are going to see way more in the video than me just screwing around with it today. We're still waiting on some of the parts for it to come in, parts for the laptop. I'll show you guys that more when the parts actually arrive and I'm ready to start working on it. And you guys can kind of see me fail at learning to solder more. What we're going to be using, we got some solder wire right here. It's the alloy 6 or SN63 and PB37, whatever that means. Flux is 1.8%. It's 50 grams. Diameter is 1 millimeter. SW1050H. I don't know what that means. I'm sure someone will be able to educate me a little bit. We got some desoldering wick. We got to melt some of the old beads for the old button. And then, of course, we got some flux paste. This nice little convenient plunger. Came with a couple tips. And it's sealable, so like you don't have to let it go to waste when you're not using it. So that's pretty nice. Other than that, kind of just waiting until Wednesday to get the button, and then I'll start on this. I do have a motherboard where I need to replace I can't remember what it's called. There's a little piece I need to resolder on. The odds of me failing on that are pretty high just because it is like a high level thing, and most people don't even recommend it. It's a cheaper motherboard. I just figured, why not? I have it. Might as well, right? But yeah, I'll probably get back to you guys maybe Wednesday night when the parts come in, maybe Thursday, Friday, Saturday, someday soon. Within the next couple days, probably, I'll get around to it. I'll catch you guys in a little bit when I do have the parts here. What's going on, guys? New day. As you can tell from the outfit change, we got the I Eat Cement shirt on. You know, very valid. Parts have come in after waiting a little bit. Mainly gonna do this as a voiceover. We'll get into it. I think I'm gonna be focusing mainly on the soldering part. So probably won't be talking as much in the video, but we'll get into that in a second. I'll show you guys the motherboard. I'll show you guys the laptop, everything about it. I'll show you guys the buttons now. This is why you never trust Amazon. This was supposed to be in a nice little convenient plastic container, and they were all supposed to be organized and labeled. Unfortunately, none of them are labeled. And I mean, they're organized, but come on, guys. Okay, so the story is why I have 125 buttons right now is I could buy one singular button for like $8, or I could buy 125 for $9 of an assorted package. I was like, odds are I'll never need one of these again, but if I do, I have 125. I guess not that many. I think it's 25 different buttons to choose from, but I have 5 of each. So, I mean, maybe it'll come in handy. This is the button that I needed. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. We'll find out shortly, I guess. So just a little tiny guy, 4 millimeters by 4 millimeters. It shorted out, so there was a full current running through it always. So we're gonna get to soldering. We're gonna learn how to do this. You guys will see all the stuff I'm using in it. I got the Fanttik, of course. I showed that earlier. Other than that, I think we should just get right into it, and I'll do the voiceover, and you guys can hear me talk about the product and what I'm doing exactly and what I'm doing wrong. Probably. Okay, welcome back. So, what's going on here is there's a little tiny button here. There's 4 pads on it, and the button shorted out. Little did I know, we're gonna actually learn about this in a little bit, and I'll have a portion either at the beginning talking about it or towards the end. And I'm going to talk about how the whole board is actually shorted out and I didn't realize that until after I was done soldering this button on, and I did a couple other tests and realized, oh, okay, well, this was pretty much for nothing. I should have tested this before. So we also have this sped up a little bit because I did take a while doing this, and by a while I mean about an hour probably, just working on it. And I didn't realize until later on, you guys will see this too. Um, Maybe not. Maybe I didn't really include it very well. There's a portion where I am zoomed in, so you guys might be able to see it, but the solder pad for the lower right side of it is ripped off. And I will zoom in on that. And as you can see, I just took the heat sink off because I wasn't able to get the motherboard fully off. So now that we got this motherboard fully off, I'm going to be able to have a little more working area, a little more comfortable. There we go. We get zoomed in right there. It's just this little tiny guy right there. And yeah, there we go. So I was probably pretty certain it was this issue if I had done the final test of testing that power reel instead of just skipping over it and just like, okay, let's go around it. We'll just solder this button and we'll be okay. I should have done my due diligence, checked the power rails, and I would have learned that, hey, this really isn't going to fix anything. As you can see right now, I'm getting the flux ready for this. I'm going to put a little on right now. I just figured, I don't know what I figured. I don't know what I'm doing here. Okay, the button was already gone. Okay, that's why it looks really weird. So I ripped the button off before, and that's why the solder pad ripped off as well. As you can see in that little right, in this angle, it's the upper right hand one. You can see that there's 3 solder points, and one's kind of bronze. And that's because it's stuck to the old button. And I realized that too late. I was able to restick it. I was able to solder on, and it wasn't shorting anymore, but unfortunately, the power rails were still shot, which kind of just means the motherboard's fully cooked. Unless I'm understanding this wrong, and I totally could be, which, still not the not an expert on motherboard soldering or anything in that means. And as you can see here, I have a lot of trouble getting this solder started, and it's just because there's no solder pad there. So it was never really going to do anything. Once I put that solder pad back on, it was fine. So, till I see something else I need to talk about, I'm going to let you guys just kind of watch the video, and I'll get back to you in a second. Alrighty, I'm back with you guys. So what I'm doing here is I'm checking that current going through the button again. And with the multimeter, unfortunately I have it off frame. I didn't realize that. But I was getting a good flow, and then I was curious, I checked another button, I think, and then I went and I tested the power rails later and realized, hey, this it's cooked. It's done. But that's what I pretty much yapped about right here. So I'm just gonna voice over it and save you guys. Alright guys, so before we really get into the soldering, which I already have kind of messed around with a little bit, I do probably want to give some background on the device. So it is an MSI Bravo 17. The RAM's been upgraded on it, so it should have 64 gigabytes of RAM in it. It has a newer SSD in it, a brand new battery. I have done a good bit of troubleshooting on it. I identified that the power button is shorting out, along with some of the other things like the power rails. I'm sure that's what they're called. Those are shorted too. So I do kind of figure there's not much to like save in it. I'm pretty sure the whole board's just shorted out after testing, and then several spots. The power button, along with the reset button, is shorting as well, and then those power rails are shorting. Pretty sure it's probably just the motherboard. It's probably cooked. There was a lot of build up around here where the power button, some of the other rails were, and it wasn't. I couldn't really tell what kind of build up it was. It was sticky, and it was like a residual, like looked like it had kind of been cleaned on the main like board in the lower part. But overall, I'm pretty sure, like down here, it was clean. I'm pretty sure it's just cooked. I put the new button on. It didn't do anything. I've troubleshot the charger, the battery, power button. It's good now. It's just those, are they power rails? I feel like that's what they're called. I could totally be wrong. I know the rails in the name, but other than that, I've kind of done most of what I can do besides replacing the motherboard at this point. And I don't know if it's really worthwhile on a product like this. It is, what, 7 years old now, I think. So it is kind of reaching the end of its life. Maybe not quite 7, maybe more like 5. But still, motherboards, I looked them up. They're about $300 to $400 for this thing. You can find them used cheaper for like $200, but you're risking, buying one that's also shorted out. So at this point, unfortunately, I'm just gonna give it back to my little brother, tell him the bad news. Unfortunately, we also had this similar thing happen with his actual desktop recently. We are installing a water cooler into it. We actually have the old motherboard in here. This is his new motherboard he got. It's just kind of more an entry level, just mini. But see right here, that got chipped. And when that gets chipped, it's just cooked. Ignore the thermal paste, that wasn't like that when we were actually setting it up. It is all just down to this little tiny guy right here. And they are made out of ceramic, so they're pretty easy to chip. He was pulling off his old cooler, it just barely tapped it, cracked it down the middle, and then, it kind of chipped off now. But there was no kind of saving this one either. So we got him a cheaper motherboard, put it in, turned it on, booted up fine, so everything else was fine on it still. Other than that, you guys will see later in the video. I'm gonna have this play first so I can explain the computer part. Maybe I'll cut it. Maybe you guys will see it later. But as you saw, the soldering job was not too good. It was rough. That soldering pad did get ripped off on that button. And I think micro soldering is a little more advanced than what you should be doing for your first time soldering. So there's that as well. We'll see if I ever need to, I'm sure I'll need to solder other things. I install car radios and speakers all the time, and those could definitely benefit from being soldered. Maybe I'll buy like one of those how to solder kits and teach myself a little better, but we'll see. This is, my first time soldering, so we'll just carry on from this point. I also wanted to try the Fanttik soldering iron. I don't know, $60 isn't a bad deal, but then again, you could probably do just as well with a $20 corded one. And it says if you want max wattage, what they don't tell you. If you want max wattage, you have to keep it plugged in, which is kind of a little weird they don't tell you that, but it's whatever. Other than that, I think this might be a wrap on the video. You guys thought it was interesting, thought it was cool, just thought it was funny watching some idiot mess up their soldering and totally fail at it. Maybe give me a like, give me a subscribe, follow, depending on what your social media platform you're watching this on. Other than that, I got some other plans coming up this week, or in the not this week, but like coming videos. I think I'm gonna do a day in the life, or maybe just a voiceover day in the life of SimOp. Or I got some parts I need to fix on my motorcycle, install some parts, winterize it. A little late for me to be winterizing it, but that's whatever. Maybe actually just do a tune up now that, halfway through February almost now, and we'll be riding out probably sometime in mid to late March. So I'm looking forward to that. I've been looking at dirt bikes to buy. I've been looking at project cars, lots of stuff. Travel plans coming up soon. Maybe not quite this summer, but definitely in the fall. I got some stuff planned. I need to get some PTO built up with this new job, and then we'll think about that later. Other than that, thanks guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed.